Marine One has since made an emergency landing after a hydraulic issue. President Trump and the First Lady were forced to switch helicopters after Marine One experienced an issue during Trump's UK visit.
So Marine One makes an emergency landing over in the UK. And the reports out of the White House were that it was a minor hydraulic issue. We're probably not going to get much detail on what that minor hydraulic issue is. I'm going to keep my ear to the ground and see if we can find some information about what it was specifically. But it was minor enough, major enough, let's say, that they made an emergency landing, which is very, very rare for Marine One. Now, the designator Marine One means that the president and the first lady, or at least the president, was on board. They doesn't carry that call sign. That Marine One designation doesn't go with the helicopter. It goes with who's on board. So if the vice president is on that same helicopter and the president is not, it's then designated Marine Two. Now, it's a very elite squadron out of Andrews Air Force Base that flies those helicopters, HMX-1, the Nighthawks, and every pilot and every crew member on those helicopters is personally handpicked by the top brass in the military to get that assignment. So it's just the best of the best, the most elite. And so, with having said that, for them to make an emergency landing, they was probably out of an abundance of caution, and it might have been just some sort of minor hydraulic leak. Maybe they got a light in the cockpit or something. But the interesting part is there's always a contingency plan for whatever they do, no matter how short a haul it is. So if they're just going from one airport to another over in the UK, transporting the president to get back to Air Force One to return home, they've got a contingency in terms of their emergency landing strip, where they're going to go, what they're going to do, and they have a backup helicopter always standing by.
And now a quick word from our sponsor. When the Polish F-16 went down during an air show, the reporting came fast and from every angle. Some stories focused on the pilot, others on military presence in Eastern Europe, and a few just leaned into the drama. All right, to make sense of it all, we turned to today's sponsor, Ground News. It's a news comparison platform that gathers stories from thousands of sources and helps you break out of echo chambers and actually see the full picture. In just seconds, you can compare how different outlets cover the same story and check their political bias, making the news less overwhelming and a lot clearer. With the F-16 crash, Ground News showed 46 sources in total, 33% from the left, 41 from the right, and the rest center-aligned, with most being highly factual. And their location of coverage tool revealed something we'd missed otherwise. Most of the coverage is out of the United Kingdom, with Polish and German sources offering deeper context and reporting closer to the location of the crash. On this channel, we don't just want the loudest version of the news, we want the clearest. Ground News helps us get there. Right now, you can get 40% off the Vantage plan. Just scan the QR code or click the link in the description below. Big thanks to Ground News for sponsoring this video and helping us bring better stories to you on this channel. Sponsors like this help us to bring more content to you.
So apparently they did transfer to the standby helicopter. Now, whether the crew actually transferred to that helicopter or not remains unknown. Mostly those other aircraft will have their own crew, but it could be that somebody would bump somebody else just because the president is on board. We'll try to get some more details about how that transfer took place, but it only took about 20 minutes. They said the president was only about 20 minutes late arriving for his 747 Air Force One trip back to the United States. So the history of Marine One is really, really interesting. Marine One was first started by Dwight D. Eisenhower back in the 50s. 1957, I think, was the first helicopter trip, and he had basically a vacation home in Pennsylvania, and he couldn't get Air Force One to take him all the way to Pennsylvania. It just didn't make any sense. It was too short of a trip. And there were no paved airstrips near his home. And so he was the first president to travel in a helicopter. Now, over the years, that's become quite a thing, going from the White House, and you see that beautiful helicopter lifting off all the time, headed over to Andrews Air Force Base. And every place the president goes around the globe, they carry at least 2 of those helicopters over and pre-position them before every single trip. And those helicopters are carried in a C-5 transport aircraft. It's quite a movement for the president to go any place, right? Not only does he have Air Force One, but he's got the Beast that he drives around in, and there's more than one of those. And then there's several helicopters that are also transported over there as well. And you saw in the news just coming out of the UK here today that there was a hydraulic issue with Marine One, and the president switched to the other aircraft. So right now, all we know is that everybody is safe. Those helicopters are exceedingly well maintained. So for something to go wrong, if I'm the pilot, I'm going, hey, you know what? I don't ever expect a caution or a warning light to come on in this helicopter ever. Out of an abundance of caution, we're going to put this thing down. And that's one of the privileges that you have with a helicopter, is you can put a helicopter down virtually anywhere. But I can tell you that those things were already pre-briefed and they were already well scripted. They didn't just look for an empty field and put the President of the United States and the First Lady down in the helicopter in Marine One. They knew exactly where they were going to go, and they knew how they were going to transfer to the backup helicopter. All of that stuff is orchestrated ahead of time and pre-briefed, and it's part of the plan. But it's a contingency that they had to use today that they don't normally have to resort to. So we get more details about what the hydraulic failure was, and the process then about switching. That's what I'm curious about. How do you switch from one helicopter to another, especially over in the UK? And one other question came up. I was just asked, how does the president fly in all that crowded airspace? Heathrow is one of the most crowded airports in the world. Every time the president goes someplace, either in the helicopter or in Air Force One, they issue what's called a TFR. That's a temporary flight restriction, and nobody is allowed to fly in or out. So many times you'll be in line, let's say at LAX, to depart, and they'll just tell you, hold on, everybody, just stay where you are. And then about 15 minutes later, you see either Air Force One come in, or you see the Marine One helicopter come in, and you go, okay, that's what the delay was about. They don't really tell you what the delay is about. They just tell you got to cool your jets, no pun intended, and wait. And but it becomes pretty obvious after a while what it was all about. And that makes sense. You've got to block out the airspace for the president or foreign dignitaries to be able to fly around safely and not have to compete with the normal traffic that I have to compete with all of the time. So there was a TFR issued over there in the London area for the president to go from one airport to the other. They didn't quite make it according to plan, but they did make it according to the backup plan. And that's the neat part about what they do, transporting probably, arguably, the most important person in the world around and doing it safely. Well, now you know. I'm Captain Steeeve. Fly safe. All right, so Emma, you've got another Make-A-Wish child coming up in the next week, right?
Yep, 1 week exactly.
Oh, it's speaking of that child, here she is, Sylvia. How are you, sweetie?
Good.
Are you looking forward to your Make-A-Wish trip?
Yes.
Are you going to who are you going to dress up like at Disney?
Cinderella.
Ooh, Cinderella.
Oh, it changed from Elsa. All right. Well, we're getting really close to our goal. And how much is our goal to raise for Make-A-Wish?
$1,100.
$100,000.
That's perfect. $1,100. All right. Yeah, $100,000. And folks, we're getting really close to our goal. And so if you can help us to get over that goal, again, let's blow the lid off of it. Honestly, we're going to help at least 10, right? Make-A-Wish families get their wish taken care of. And we're just that close.
Yep.
Yep.
So close. And we go in 1 week.
We go in 1 week, and we're going to give you some videos from down at Disney World when we're down there with Sylvia on her Make-A-Wish.
Thank you for helping. I'm Captain Steeeve. Fly safe.
I couldn't have said it better myself.